Former Mike Pence chief of staff, Marc Short, points out that 94% of farmers say their financial situation has either worsened or remained the same. That means no one, virtually, is saying it's gotten any better. He writes, quote, states whose economies rely on agriculture are struggling, and it's showing up in the polls. He wrote a lot of other things, but we excerpted that. So let's bring in our political panel and Marc Short, Republican strategist, who wrote the piece, and Democratic strategist, Mo Lefty. So, Marc, you wrote it. Talk to me about it.
Well, Major, thanks for having me back.
Sure. You're always welcome here.
Look, I think that there's no doubt that the price of fertilizer has continued to increase, and that's hurting farmers.
Diesel, fertilizer, regular commodities?
Absolutely. But I think it's also preceded the war with this trade policy.
Tariffs.
And the reality is that not only has tariffs elevated a lot of prices, but it's closed markets. And, you know, I've been somebody who has supported the president's policy largely in the first administration toward China. But his universal attack on trade across the globe has created challenges where now farmers do not have supplemental markets to sell products. Canada was one of our primary trading partners in agricultural products, and they're not accepting them now because of the positions this administration has taken toward Canada, who has been one of our allies and best trading partners. And so
does this show up in Iowa? Does this show up in Ohio? Does this show up in Wisconsin? The president's going to be in Wisconsin Friday touting his farmer-friendly agenda.
I think it's going to show up in a lot of farm states. Major. I worry for Republicans, not just in Iowa, I think, where you saw a lower turnout, but you also saw an area where Feenstra was the Trump-endorsed candidate.
Yeah.
And he comes from the agricultural part of the state. He's not from an urban part of Des Moines. He's from the agricultural part of the Steve King district that often used to elect Republicans. And the fact that he, I think, was overwhelmed by a candidate who's actually from Kansas, who just recently moved to Iowa,
Zach Lane,
I think is a reflection of the frustration that many farmers are feeling in the sense they maybe just won't turn out because they feel like, look, I'm not getting help right here, and I'm going to stay home. And that's going to be really detrimental to Republicans. Iowa's a state that voted for Trump by 13 points in 24. But, you know, it's a state that I think is in play for Democrats, not just in the governor's race, but honestly in the Senate race, too.
Oh, I know you agree with everything you just heard, so I'm not going to
say it often, but this man is brilliant. Listen to everything he just said.
Give me your takeaways from California.
California, it's interesting, right? Not long ago, my side was freaking out over the possibility that Democrats might be boxed out of the governor's race. That's not the case. It looks like at least one.
Javier Becerra will cruise to victory.
I think Becerra will be in there, and you know, there's still a chance Steyer might be the second. So we'll see. One of the most interesting things, though, between both the governor's race and the L.A. mayor's race is that the establishment candidates on the Democratic side seem to actually be leading. The more centrist candidates seem to be leading. Mm-hmm. And we've seen that with a few exceptions. But around the country, as this primary season progresses, is that the center left in the Democratic Party seems to be still where most of the energy is. And California is the latest example of that.
Tom Kean, Jr. is a member of Congress from New Jersey, a Republican. He hasn't been on Capitol Hill since March. He won't disclose what's wrong with him or what's going on. The House Speaker says he'll be back eventually. He put out a statement yesterday, I'm coming back, but nobody knows why. This seems to be a very odd circumstance, Mo.
Yeah. Look, I give him a lot of grace if he's got a medical condition that he needs to be out.
But you can tell people what it is.
Tell people that. Republicans were not wrong to demand more transparency from the Biden administration when it came to health, whether it was the president, whether it was Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, when he had a medical procedure but didn't tell people. The Republicans were not wrong to demand transparency. I think that same standard should apply here.
Marc?
I think it should apply, too, but I don't think I should let Mo's previous statement stand, that it's centrist candidates across the board. In New Jersey, you just nominated a candidate who volunteered with al-Qaeda in Bosnia. He was a defense witness for the World Trade Center bombings, and he's now their nominee in New Jersey. You have a candidate in Maine who's a neo-Nazi. And, you know, if if Republicans were foolish enough to nominate somebody like that, they'd be condemned. When Democrats do, it's like we're expanding our base, and somehow we're reaching new voters. And so the notion that they're actually nominating moderate candidates is absurd.
No, it's not absurd. I did say that there were some exceptions, and you just named two of them. But across the board, when the story of this primary season is written, I think you'll see more center-left.
Do you think there's anything interesting in American politics to pay attention to if Spencer Pratt makes it into the final two in the L.A. mayor's race, that someone who is a reality TV star who put together a couple of whiz-bang virtual ads could run somewhat competitively?
Yeah, I think my two big takeaways. One, despite what I just said about the center left and the establishment, there still is an anti-establishment that feeling out there that is incredibly strong. Number two, the era of seriousness in our politics seems to be fading very rapidly.
Well, Letha, you get the last word. Marc Short, great to have you with you. Keep writing those op-eds. We'll have you on the show. Roll the prompter, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Wednesday, everyone.